It's Tyler with another Requel pitch in the car, and I'm back with Monster Force. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Look, I know I talk about monsters. Talked about Monster Squad, the Dark Universe, Van Helsing, all the same elements over and over and over. And I know what you're thinking. Dang it, dude, give it a rest. But you know what? Different ideas, different things. Now, Monster Force was a 90s cartoon. It lasted 12 or 13 episodes. They've only actually ever released 7. Those are on YouTube. And the premise was that a team led by a scientist professor were hunting down Dracula, who, along with Imhotep, the mummy, were trying to take over the world and rule everything and destroy things. And awesome, right? Because why not? But it is cool because you have a team, and it reminds me, like, the first episode is off because it doesn't really give you the first episode vibe that you need. It gives you more like you're being dropped in. So basically, the pitch is like this. So, Monster Force, right? The thing is, it reminds me of what you do, I think, to really make it work is you start off this professor, and it's not Professor Van Helsing. We'll leave him out. I can't remember the name right now because my brain is on slow mode. But you start with this professor in a college class, much like the setup to Extreme Ghostbusters, if I have to be honest with you. And um, you could say that the remains of Dracula show up. He's a folklore professor. Dracula shows up, and someone opens it, and then Dracula now is searching and raises the mummy as his partner in crime. And there's one of the students that's in the class is, just for fun, we'll call him Chandler. His name is something Chandler, and we find out he's actually a Talbot. And then we see the same kind of weapons that they have and suits and tech that they develop for the monster force, and they go hunting after Dracula. And it's the same kind of premise of these college kids basically hunting Dracula. Because I think the show was really neat in its setup. I think it's got some cool concepts. I think the characterizations of the mummy and the creature and everything is really great. And I wouldn't do the creature right away. I would keep to just Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy for the first film. And then I would have a tease of the Bride and Frankenstein as two separate entities for the sequel, and maybe the creature for the sequel. Because you don't want to throw it all in there. You can also utilize one, or like Dracula has to make new brides. That's always kind of fun. Kind of like in Dracula 2000, how he makes new brides. But I really think that the idea of Monster Force is really awesome. This team that hunts monsters in this kind of vein of Extreme Ghostbusters and, um, just Ghostbusters, I guess. It just, it could be fun and make it more like a 90s throwback, like a little over the top, fun, not too dark, just just right. Like it's got to have a nice blend of horror and adventure, but not slight camp, but not just super scary and dark. I think what the originality is in the details, with the characterizations and the students who are just regular students who have these really cool like jetpacks and masks where they almost look like Star-Lord. To be honest with you, like the animation reminds me of another 90s cartoon that had aired about the same time. I think they aired in a block together called Exo Squad, which I did watch. God, the 90s was great for cartoons. Every channel had cartoons in the morning and after school. Everything had a toy. And then Cartoon Network came and Disney XD, and they moved everything to cable. And then they stopped Saturday morning cartoons, and then they stopped making toys for everything. Everybody came hooked on electronics, and then we lost our toy stores. Now it's the same stuff recycled over and over and over with no new stuff. But Monster Force could be fun, you know. Um, yeah, I love the monsters, so it's just another one of those ideas.